Hi, I'm Chelsea Husum, your host of the Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and mom of two. And I'm so tired of women not feeling like they can show up as fully expressed versions of themselves. So here, we're all about that unapologetically, because honestly, we don't have time not to. Literally, because we're busy as F moms and entrepreneurs, but also figuratively, because we don't know how much time we have on this planet, and we want to make an impact now. But if we're doing this, we're making it real vibes only. So let's get inspired, laugh our asses off, quite possibly cry, and feel like you're sitting on the couch with your bestie and a glass of wine. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lip Service and Lashes podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Husum, and so glad you're here. All right, I need to talk about, about a week ago, a little less than a week ago, on a Sunday. It was a really not a great day for me. I was a raging emotional lunatic, which I am an emotional person. Just going to say that. I'm an empath. I know I've talked about this before in my book, on podcasts, but I feel a lot, and you pretty much always know how I'm feeling. Like I literally can't, even my face, like my husband's like, "What's wrong with your face?" I'm like, "I'm fine. What are you talking about?" He's like, "No, you're upset. You're mad. You're this, that." I'm like, "Yeah." And in my heart, I'm like, "Yeah, he knows me really well," even though I'm like pretending to fake that I'm fine. So I can't even like fake my emotions or cover them up. With that being said, it was a Sunday. I started the day at 8 a.m. We were at hockey with Wyatt, and I was crying by myself in the stands of the Air Force Academy because just, again, I'm an empath. And I'm going to preface everything I'm going to say. Okay. So I never talk about politics ever. Like, if you know me, I've never probably told you ever who I voted for in the history of my life, because I freaking hate talking about it. I hate politics. I hate how everyone like gets mean and judgmental and all the shit. Like, I really, truly hate it. I will also say my husband and I have literally every election voted for two different people, the different people. We have never voted for the same person ever in us knowing each other for like 20 years. So I'll say that as well. Also, I will say that I try to be a very open-minded person. I try to be very accepting. Like, okay, you'd voted for this person. Cool. Good for you. You can believe that. I still like you. Whatever. I can vote for this person. Like, just all I ever ask is like, or I guess what bothers me is when people try to shove their beliefs down my throat or somebody else's, and they're just like, they assume they are correct and they're not open-minded. That frustrates me a lot. And so like, I don't care who you voted for or whatever. Really, I kind of just go by like, let's all try to be good people. Cause I, again, hate politics. And I feel like our country somehow puts like the worst people humanly possible, like all up there. And we have to choose from the just not good people. Like, I don't ever think there's like a stellar choice of people anytime recently. So there's that. So I am going to a little bit talk about some things that have been bothering me, but really it's like, for me, it's really bothering me because like, I feel like at this point in our country, like basic human rights are not being like respected, like life and like just humanity, I guess, is struggling. And like we're struggling to show any kindness to another human and not judge and like, go there. So this started at 8 a.m. at hockey crying by myself because I made the mistake of, this was after the second person was just killed by ice. And I made the mistake of being like, I'm going to read the news and I'm going to watch the video. And, yeah, that's not smart. Because I'm an empath, have talked about this before, but I never watch the news. I hate the news. I call it death and destruction. And even though I literally have a broadcast journalism degree and I wanted to be a news anchor, okay, that's a whole other. But I started crying after just reading the news, and then it showed all these other videos to me, and then literally the one that put me over the edge, and it just fast forward a few minutes if you're an empath like me and you don't want to hear this, but the video that like fucking put me over the edge and made me like sob cry at hockey by myself in the stands was ice trying to rip a little 3-year-old boy out of his father's arms, and the father was so stressed out and freaking out that he went into a seizure. So the dad is literally, it's a video of him like literally having a fucking seizure in his car, holding onto his little son. I mean, I'm sorry, not fucking okay. Still makes me like want to ugly cry. It's just, I don't know. And I feel like I had a really great conversation with a friend the other day, and she has always been a fan of Trump. I will say I am not. I never have been a fan of Trump in the first. And again, I'm just telling you guys what I believe because again, I never talk about this. And guess what? I have a podcast, so I can. But you can totally like not listen, whatever. And I'm not saying you have to believe this. I'm just talking about my feelings. But the first election when he said he's been, well, he's a felon. He's been like accused of like 25 rapes, you know, all these different charges of things against him. And he says like, oh, women I just grab them by the pussy and they do whatever I want and I can, kiss them and touch them and whatever I go into. When he was a pageant director, he's like, I just go in and pretend I'm, doing business, but I'm just looking at these half naked women. And he's a sexist. He's a racist. He's a felon. He hates immigrants, but he's married to an immigrant. He's really the biggest narcissist I've literally in my entire life ever seen. Like when you read what he posts on social media, you're like, or even every time I hear a video of him talking, I'm like, oh my God, is this actually coming out of your mouth? Like it's just asinine to me. Like what a narcissist he is. And he's kind of like just delusional. So I just struggle with him in general. And I feel like his first election created a culture of hate and that was okay. And it was okay to be racist and it was okay to be sexist and it was okay to hate gay people and it was okay to do this. And I just saw like the culture start changing and like the meanness and judgment like become okay, which is fucked up. I have a lot of gay friends that have been getting death threats and they're like actually terrified that they're going to be killed. That's fucked up. I don't know. I could go on forever. But my friend and I the other day had a really good conversation. And like I said, she has always been a Trump supporter. And she said, it's like past the point now with, now citizens are being murdered and it always seems like a new low, like something new, like so messed up happens. And then you still hear people justifying it. Like, what? I can't, when it gets so bad and somehow like the supporters of him still justify it, it's like, no, at some point you can say, yeah, you could say like, I voted for him, but now I don't agree with what he's doing. Cool. Like I can respect that. You admit, yeah, well, I voted for him before, but look where it's at now and I don't approve, whatever. Right. But she said, well, when he said we're getting all the illegal rapists and murderers and bad people out of the country, great. But she's like, but now we're just going after the fathers and we're stealing children to get at the parents who are just working. They're a roofer. They're working at the local restaurant. They're not like bad people, but you're breaking up families. You're, causing major trauma to these freaking poor children. Like, God, if you're a parent, you would fight to the death to protect your children. And these children are getting taken from you. They're going to detention centers where they're being abused there. Some of the adults are being abused and assaulted. I mean, it's just freaking messed up. And she just said it's gotten way past what he had said he was doing. Now it doesn't make sense, and now it's not okay. And so that's just, a lot of people have just had enough, and it's terrifying. Now, even if you are a US citizen, you're not safe, and and people are going to lie and try to cover things up. So there's that. This was the start of my Sunday raging and just being like fucking sad and just scared. Oh, are we on? I mean, honestly, I say this, but we probably are on the verge of a fucking civil war and on the verge of another world war, like by his actions, because he's a narcissist. Like, oh, I'm going to take over Greenland. I'm going to invade this country. Also, the invasion of countries with corrupt presidents. Okay, so are we going to now invade all of Central and South America? Probably, because a lot of those countries have corrupt leaders. I'm going to say that. Other places in the world. So are we now going to just invade the whole world? And who's paying for that? Right? It's just, I don't know. It's out of control, and it's really hard for just people in general. And then when you're an empath and you see the shit that's happening on these videos, it just like rips your heart out, and you feel helpless and scared and appalled. And it's just, yeah, I don't even know. I don't have the words to grasp, but that's been just like eating at my soul and eating at me. So that was the start of Sunday. Second part of Sunday, where I continued to be a raging emotional lunatic, was the 10-year anniversary of when my student Max passed away, who 10 years ago, there were 3 boys involved they fell through an ice pond. I think it was on a Friday after school, I believe, if I remember. They were messing around on a little ice pond and they fell through. One, Patrick, died at the pond. Another boy lived. And Max was rescued, and he went flight for life to Children's Hospital and was in a coma for about 10 days, and then he passed away. And so already when I was just fragile, right, this Sunday morning, then, it's 10 years, and it took me many years, like coming up on his death anniversary, to not just completely lose my shit for like the week before and just be like ugly crying every day. I mean, I wrote about him in my book, and I've really struggled from that. I had this really weird the last day I saw him, like he always wore the same like green sweater for like forever. And this last day, I think it was one of the last, I had him for numerous classes, but one of the last classes of the day, they were kind of finishing up and maybe had some free time or something. And I remember sitting at my teaching desk, looking up at him, like he was helping this sweet special needs boy with some math game on the computer. And I remember, weirdly, I will never forget, I can see it in my brain. I remember looking up, and he was wearing this like gray little puffy vest, and he had this cute little outfit on. And at this point, I had taught him for a few years and many classes. I knew this kid so well. He was my little buddy. Like, truly, I was trying to get him involved in a mentorship program, and I remember I just looked up, and I literally remember stopping and being like, wow, look how big he's gotten. He's grown up so much. And it was like, God knew that was the last time I was going to see him. Cause he made me pay special attention that day and just stop and like look up and be like, Wow, I'm so proud of this kid. Ugh. So, I mean, 10 years later, I still cry about it. It was just he died too young, and the Patrick, passed away. It was just tragic for our school community. Just a really, really horrible, horrible thing that happened. Yeah, and I mean, I think of him often. So that was the second reason that I lost my mind Sunday. And if you can even imagine, honestly, it gets worse. Um, I that evening now, my husband was like, "You seem quiet," and I was like, "Well, I am a raging lunatic. Do you really want to know why?" He's like, "Tell me." I'm like, "Okay," and then I like start crying, and he's like, "Babe, why are you watching the news? You can't be doing that. This and that." He's like, "You know, you can't handle it," and I'm like, "I know." So, I was just a mess anyway, and fragile as fuck anyway. At approximately, let's say 4:15, because on this Sunday night, because we're trying to like get out the freaking door to go to basketball for my son. His game's like a half hour away and it's snowing, and we're like, oh my God, we got to get going. And so my son Wyatt had been upstairs watching TV in our room, and he really never sits up there, but I don't know, he had been sitting up there after hockey, and he's hanging out. And so he comes downstairs, he's like, Mom, I I just heard a really loud noise, and I think smoke came out of the wall. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, I'm thinking, what the hell did you do now? Did you break some shit again? Like, oh my God, this child, right? Honey badger. So I go upstairs, and I'm like, we're trying to get ready to go too. And he's like showing me, and I'm looking around, and there's all this like white powder ish stuff all over. And there's like little pieces of wood on the carpet. I'm like, what the hell? And he shows me, and there's a freaking hole in the wall. And I'm like, I immediately think like, damn it, child, how do you have a freaking hole in the wall? Like, come on, this is like a whole new level. And I'm like, did you do this? Like, how would you have done this? And I look, and you can see outside, like it's a hole through the exterior wall of my bedroom. You could see daylight on the other side, and you could feel the air coming through. And I'm like, something, it's like from the way the drywall is, it's like pushed, like it came into the house, right? You can tell. I'm not a forensic investigator, but I can tell this. And I was like, what the hell? And then my husband comes up, like he had gotten out of the shower, and we're looking. I'm thinking, it was cold. We're like, did the pipes burst? Like, I don't even know. This doesn't make sense. And my husband's like, I think it looks like a bullet. I'm like, holy shit. Like, the Broncos had literally just lost. So they're not going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, are people legit in freaking the suburb I live in shooting guns off because they're pissed? Like, truly, what the hell? And then we're all looking. We're like, what's going on? And he's like, well, if it was a bullet, we're looking around on the floor. He's like, there would have to be a bullet we would find, or a secondary, entrance point, because it would have to go somewhere, right? So we're looking around. Then finally he's like, oh, I see it. Yeah, it's up in the corner. There's the secondary point where it went now into the corner of another wall. So we're like, I text, my brother-in-law. I'm like, oh my God, do you think this was a bullet? He's like, yeah, it looks like it. You need to call the police. So I'm like freaking out. And then apparently, it was a bullet, a shotgun bullet that had it was an accident, but it was could have been freaking horrible, like killed one of us. My neighbor had been helping this old lady, to get her guns ready to move, and apparently she'd left this shotgun loaded, and he picked it up, and it had a rag on it, and it shot off through his window across the street through my house. Total freak accident. He would never, never, never try to hurt us, of course. But like he then called and said, yes, it was a bullet. And I was like, I just kind of freaked out. I'm like, my son was sitting feet away from this. Like, what a freak thing. But like, it just scared the shit out of me because Wyatt had been sitting in my bedroom a couple feet away. Like, oh my God. And I just started bawling again. I'm like, I don't have the capacity for this. I can't deal with this. And I just like lost my shit again, like sob crying. I mean, this whole day, I'm just a mess. And then this, of all freaking things, was like, just took it too far. And I just literally couldn't. My eyes were swollen. I could barely see. I was just like losing my shit. So thank God he was okay. Thank God anybody else was okay. Like, it could have just been so bad, and it's not lost on me. Like, I'm so grateful that everyone's okay. And it is like sometimes these freak accidents. It's terrifying. So yeah, that was my Sunday last week. And I don't know, man. At that point, I was like, I am emotionally freaking spent. I'm energetically like drained. I am just exhausted. I'm tired. I'm sad. I'm scared. I'm all the shit. And I was just not okay. But thank God I've really focused on being gentle with myself this week. And I'm going to record another podcast about that. But I don't know. Sometimes life's just fucking heavy and hard. And I also had two really good girlfriends of mine. Their mother just passed away this week. Like, there's a lot of hard shit going on right now. There always is. Like, that's just life, right? We get through it. We're in a good spot, but something always is going to come up, right? And it's just, I don't know. We got to be gentle on ourselves. The world, the country is dealing with a lot right now. Be kind, be gentle, like, step it back a little, do things that bring you a little bit of joy or peace sometimes. Like, we really need that right now. And we need to spread kindness and love and stop like this judgment constantly, or just like, we need to get back to being good humans. That's truly ultimately what I feel like. And so, yeah, I see all of you. A lot of you thank you for all of you who reached out. If you saw my Instagram story and like, oh my God, are you okay? Whatever. And you've been checking up on me even this week. Like, I truly appreciate you all. Thank you. And just let's be gentle to ourselves and with each other, and like support those around us that are struggling, because there's a lot of people right now struggling. And I'm always here too. So if you need something, please reach out. But yeah, we got this. We can get it through hard times, but we just got to give ourselves a little grace sometimes. So this is just your reminder. All right, everybody. Always remember, no BS, just real vibes. I'll see you next time. If you loved the episode, share it on Instagram and tag me so I can say thank you and meet you, or share it with a girlfriend who you know would love this too. Always remember, no BS, just real vibes. See you next time on Lip Service and Lashes.